Welcome to Smart to Fish Wild, a podcast where a passion for the outdoors meets the strategy of building a meaningful, well-designed life. I'm Mark Candler, Colorado native, outdoorsman, passionate fly fisherman, proud father, and senior partner of Silver Oak Wealth Planning. Each week, I have the real pleasure of sitting down with some amazing people who are turning their passion into purpose and designing lives that leave room for what matters the most. Today, we are super fortunate to be joined by Carter Lyles, Director of Marketing with Yellow Dog Fly Fishing. Today, Carter is going to share his journey from a challenging adolescence to building a great career in the fly fishing industry. Today's conversation is meaningful for listeners interested in outdoor careers, entrepreneurship, and the mindset required to excel in niche industries. So sit back and enjoy the conversation, and I hope you find value. Welcome, Carter. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark. I appreciate it. This is it's an honor to have a conversation.
Carter is in beautiful Beaufort, South Carolina. I spent a couple years in grad school, master's in international business studies up the road in Columbia. A little less gorgeous, but good SEC football.
That's good SEC football, and SEC football is huge down here. It's pretty much a religion, but I'm blessed to be in Beaufort, man. It is a beautiful place.
Well, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know from our previous conversation, you had a super interesting story about everything how you got involved with Yellow Dog, what you've done with them. If you don't mind, just tell us kind of your background with Yellow Dog.
For sure. So it goes back to high school, and I was a sophomore. Unfortunately, I was going through a lot of difficult times back then, and it was a struggle for me. And my dad, I think he had the vision to try to get me into something that could turn out to be a passion of mine, and ended up taking me to Belize on a fishing trip to El Pescador for spring break. So we go down, and I absolutely fell in love. And I fell in love because everybody was down there collectively doing the same thing, from the anglers to the guides to the lodge staff. When you came back each day, everybody would ask me, it's like, "Hey, how's your day out on the water? What did you see? What did you catch?" And so it was an awesome experience. And we booked through, or my dad booked through Yellow Dog. And this is, again, if I was a sophomore, this is 16, 17 years ago. And I got back, and this was my first time ever saltwater fly fishing. And I loved it. And I was captivated by Yellow Dog. I was trying to figure out how somebody was able to basically create a life for them selling fishing trips. My dad had told me a little bit about what the company did, and I found out who the owner was. His name is Jim Klug. And in a math class, I had a substitute teacher one day. Again, this is my sophomore year. And I stepped out of the math class, and I called Jim at the office and asked him a few questions, and he was kind enough to take the call and answer the questions that I had for him. So yeah, that was kind of my first interaction with Yellow Dog. I then went in and started working at the Fish Hawk in Atlanta, and did that with Gary Merriman for a while, and made my way out west. And I was working at Trout Hunter Lodge. I knew that winter was coming, and I was living in West Yellowstone. And if you've ever been to West Yellowstone, it's a phenomenal place. But when winter comes, there's not a lot to do. So while I was working at Trout Hunter, I was able to work remote because I was helping him do a website at the time. And I decided to move to Bozeman. Well, my dad flew out. This is, 4, 5, 6 years later after that first trip to El Pescador. And we're getting moved into my new apartment in Bozeman. And my dad was driving around one day and passed the Yellow Dog offices. And he met with Jim, and Jim and I ended up grabbing coffee a couple of days later. And that was that. When I found myself at Yellow Dog. And so I'm coming up on now my 10th year of the company, which is, it has been a phenomenal experience. I would not trade it for anything in the world.
Wow. What a story.
Yeah. Full circle.
That is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, man.
So we found Carter via LinkedIn and communicated via LinkedIn. And Carter was kind enough to set me up with Jim Klug to do a podcast. So Jim has already done a podcast, and oh my God, is he fascinating? And what a
In
natural.
person, isn't he? He's very well traveled and he's got a ton of great experiences.
Yeah, and Jim is kind enough to come down here in about 3 weeks, fly down from Montana to speak with our gentleman's fly fishing social club, Boonfly. So that should be certainly a packed house to
Yeah,
hear a legend in the fly fishing industry come and speak. And I think he's going to talk about fly fishing in some of the most remote, distant, crazy places on this globe. So really, really looking forward to that.
he's been to a lot of them.
How many countries has he been to? Do you have any idea?
I think it's over 40. He's caught fish in over 40 different countries. I don't know what his species, what that number looks like, but yeah, he's traveled to a lot of them. All continents except for maybe Asia, or I'm sorry, Antarctica. He's definitely been to Asia. So yeah, he is very well traveled for sure.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, so do you mind if I ask kinda how you and how Yellow Dog are involved in conservation? And it's probably tough to limit it to less than 10 hours of feedback, but if you could just give us a high level, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. Yellow Dog, Jim, Ian, and a few others founded the Yellow Dog Community and Conservation Foundation about 10 years ago. And YDCCF, what they do is they try to enhance a lot of the fisheries and the communities surrounding those fisheries around the world. They make direct contributions to projects and help fund projects in those areas and those territories and those fisheries. Some examples would be like uh, the Hurricane Dorian back in, I think it was 2019. We had a huge fundraiser for that. Ended up raising over $300,000 that helped contribute to uh, a lot of the guides and rebuilding homes and for a lot of the guides and the lodge workers that Yellow Dog represents. Other projects involve, helping out the Gallatin River Task Force, things like the Puna Island projects, which was a phenomenal deal down in Pinellas in Mexico in Ascension Bay, helping to build bathrooms and helping with the schools down there and the kids. So it's YUCCF has been involved in a lot of great and interesting projects and organizations throughout the world, and it is neat that Yellow Dog every trip booked and every product sold, we give a percentage of that goes back to YDCCF to help fund these. So it's definitely the conservation element is ingrained in our DNA. And I was telling you before this call, I think anybody in business in fly fishing, we utilize these resources. We send anglers around the world. It is definitely our duty, our right, and our privilege to give back to these fisheries and these communities. If we're going to utilize them, then it's the right thing to
Wow, that is
do.
so admirable. So is that a separate 501(c)(3) with its own staff?
Correct. We've got a board of directors and we've got an executive director. His name is Brooke Scott. And yes, it is separate from Yellow Dog.
Wow, just out of curiosity, do you know what their operational budget is yearly?
I'd have to go check that. I don't know that number off the top of my head. But to date, I do know that we've given over $2 million back to conservation projects around the world.
Awesome. So, Carter, I would love to hear your thoughts on the intersection or cross currents of passion, business, and belief.
Absolutely. So I was very fortunate to be hanging out with Nathaniel Lindo and Ian Slater in Belize when we put on the Saltwater Invitational, which was eights, nines, and 11 weights. We took about 52 fly rods, modern saltwater fly rods with us to Belize to test these rods out side by side with three casters, including Brian O'Keefe. And it was a phenomenal event. It taught me a lot. Hopefully, it taught those guys something that they can take away. But when I was down there, if you don't know Nathaniel or Ian Slater, Nathaniel Lindell is widely considered one of the greatest saltwater anglers alive. Ian Slater is a phenomenal person and guide himself, and they compete together in a lot of these pretty legitimate tournaments down the Keys, like the Gold Cup and Del Brown and the March Merkin. They actually Nathaniel and Ian just won the March Merkin. They caught seven, I think seven permit in the last day to win it, which is insane.
Oh my God. That's insane.
And listening to, I don't know if you listen, there's a lot of great podcasts. Waypoints is one of them with Jim, and the other I love is Millhouse. And you hear from Andy about his competitive spirit as well. Talking to Nat and Ian, I mean, they're on it when it comes to competing in these tournaments, and they perform well. They show up to play. And I think this is the same mindset maybe that a lot of people in business have, or it's just flipped. And what I mean that by that is, at that intersection is kind of deciding what path you want to take. I chose a path of from the business side, right? For me, fishing is more of a relaxation. I don't take it seriously at all, and I don't really like tournaments because I'm already so highly competitive. More like on a day to day, day in and day out of my job that I kind of need that mental detachment. It's I I think that with having a strong passion, you have something like fly fishing that you want to work at. These guys having fly fishing is something that they're so passionate about that they want to be, the best fly angler that they possibly can be. And I think just it's flipped because I wanted to focus on the business aspect of this, right? I wanted to say, like, I want to help take a business to a certain place, or maybe we become the largest or foremost fly fishing outfit in the world, right? Where Nat and Ian are of the mindset we want to perform at high level, and fishing and actual fishing become some of the best anglers. Um, and whether, you know, whatever path you choose, it's great. I just believe that um, it is it's something that's I've seen a lot of people in the fly fishing industry try to figure out that intersection. Especially a lot of guys and gals getting into it for the first time. Whether you want to really take the guide route and become a phenomenal guide, whether you want to take the angler route, you just want to become a really solid angler, or you want to decide like me and take kind of the business route and do whatever you possibly can to take a company to new heights. So at that intersection, I making that decision, that call, like I said, decided to get business way. My mom's favorite word for my twin sister and I growing up was believe, and she instilled, a lot of that self belief in us, and trusting and believing in yourself because you know more than you think you. And yeah, just showing up every day, whether it's just like Nat and Ian in these tournaments or, in business, showing up every day and believing that you can compete on a high level.
Wow. What a powerful message. That's awesome. So, on the business front, why do you feel like good enough just does not work in a niche industry?
For sure. Let's go back to that tournament analogy, right? So
Okay.
I remember speaking with Nathaniel when we were in Belize, and I asked him about the tournaments. And I asked him, Nat, does the same guide and angler teams, do they consistently place year after year, whether it's the Gold Cup, the March Merkin, El Brown, whatever, the Super Bowl? And he said, yeah, of course. Usually it's the same guide and angler teams that consistently place. Good enough will not allow you to place in these tournaments, right? Because those teams that do not think that, they will allow it, or those teams that do not think that way and won't allow it themselves, right? The teams that are performing at a high level will never allow you to place because they don't think in good enough. What now becomes important, in my opinion, to actually win is the fundamentals and all the small details. And you ask yourself why, and that's because that is 100% what it will come down to. I again was listening to a podcast by Andy where he said that he lost a tournament due to a bad knot, and that's something that's like centimeters, if not millimeters, right? It's a small, super minute detail. So whether you're, as high performers, we all obsess over the small things because when it comes down to it, that's usually what will bring a team or even a company over the finish line uh, versus another high performer. I look at Yellow Dog, and I mean, we've got a lot of great competition out there, and kind of focusing on all those small, little important details is what eventually will separate us. That's something, whether you're in the surfing industry, whether you're in hunt, climb, ski, whatever outdoor pursuit. There's a lot of people around you that have that same passion and that same belief. But just like your Nathaniel or Andy or some of these guys, they focus on the fundamentals, man. They're really good at it. And they focus and obsess over all the small stuff. So that's why I think as a company, I don't see you succeeding without really focusing on that high performance, never settling for, um, hey, that was good enough. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that's brilliant articulation of kind of the intersection of excellence in the art of fly fishing and the achievement of excellence, paying attention to all the small details in business. That was
For sure.
really, really good. Yeah, Carter, in an earlier conversation, you said something really interesting that people shape you more than any job ever will. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, jobs will come and go. There are people that will instill things in you that last forever. And I don't know if you have a son or a daughter, maybe it's even yourself if you're listening to this that wants to get into the fly fishing industry, or maybe you want to get into surf, climb, ski, whatever it may be. But I can't speak for fly fishing is finding yourself a credible mentor. That is my number one piece of advice, bar none. And I guess you could ask, like, what is credible, right? Generally, they're going to be older than you and have more experience, but they should also be highly regarded by their peers. I think that last piece is pretty important. And I've been super fortunate to have some really good mentors in my lifetime. Ronnie Hall introduced me to dry fly fishing, conservation, how to carry yourself as kind of an authentic outdoorsman. Gary Merriman, who was the founder and owner of the Fish Hall, taught me to people for granted that walk through the door to do business with you. And of course, Jim, I'd credit Jim with kind of shaping me into the business professional I am today and showing me kind of what it takes to perform at a high level. So, there are people along your path that will also teach you very hard lessons. I've had that happen to me. It's not fun. It kind of sucks, but it will continue to mold you. Um, and there are people you work with every day. And I couldn't be more grateful for these people. And we understand that, hey, business is a team sport, just kind of like the tournament analogy with the guy and the angler. You can't do this all by yourself. And I definitely recognize that. And I've got a ton of great individuals that I work with: Aaron Wood, John Clark, Casey Canada, Doug Best, our entire program director team, and admin teams, our leadership team. Everyone is really there to work kind of toward a common goal. And everyone is important, holds a unique piece to this kind of overall puzzle that we're trying to piece together. So I'll go back to that. If you're a father or a mother and you have a son or a daughter that wants to get into fly fishing or the outdoor industry, it is so important for that person to find a mentor, a credible mentor. It will take them so much further.
Yeah, I'm super blessed with three fantastic kids that I could not be more proud of. Will is a junior at TCU, Jack is a freshman at Ole Miss, and Lily's a sophomore here at a local Regis Jesuit high school. Yeah, I've chosen to really try to give their gifts more as expeditionary experiences with me, whether that's, Humvee and mountain biking in Moab or whitewater rafting down the Arkansas or, fly fishing 11-mile canyon, goose and duck hunting,
So
which
do
was
they
really,
take a pick and,
really
and
funny. My
take
daughter went with 6 guys on our last goose and duck hunt in Panhandle of Nebraska, and she just handled it like an all-star. She's incredible.
I love
It's
it.
awesome to get them places where there's no cell phone, there's no laptop, there's no Instagram, there's no texting. That's priceless. Love it. Again, I'm sorry.
Will you pick it for them, or will they pick kind of the adventure or whatever they want to go do, and you'll go take them?
A little bit of both. Yeah, a little bit of both. And I try to rotate it. Ask Will what he really wants to do, ask Jack what he really wants to do, ask Lily what she really wants to do. And it's just, yeah, awesome. Awesome. And
What has
it's,
been
man, it's tough. It's tough when they go to college. It's like, you used to see him like every day, and all of a sudden it's like now it's like every 3 months. It's brutal. But
absolutely.
we talk a lot. I miss them, but great kids.
What has been else? Do they have a favorite adventure that they've been on with you?
I think the one that would come to the front of the mind for all three of them, there is a dude ranch outside of Sheridan, Wyoming, called Wolf, Wyoming. And I believe it's the oldest dude ranch in the United States, called Eaton's Ranch. And on my dad's side of the family, I think family has been going there since the 1920s, possibly even earlier. And so every generation has been several times to Eaton's Ranch, and it was blessed. A couple summers ago, I got to take my 3 kids up to Eaton's Ranch, with aunts and cousins and pretty big group of, I don't know, 18 or 20 of us, and just, riding horses. And they have a lake that is just the most explosive, insane largemouth bass fishing. Nothing trophy, but I may have caught like a 4-pounder, 3-pounder,
There you
4-pounder.
go.
I
That's
don't know.
perfect.
It's just the cabins look like they really haven't been touched since 1920 or 1930. I mean, they're fine, little rundown, but it's just, I don't know. It's just so meaningful. It's like when we left Eaton's Ranch, like literally all of us had tears coming down our face. It was like,
I'll never forget the
so.
first time my parents took my twin sister and I out to a ranch in Montana, and that probably to this day is our favorite family trip.
Well, let me ask you the question, if it's only if it's appropriate. So, where would you like to be 5 and 10 years from now in terms of your career as a person, what you've accomplished, where you fished?
In 5 to 10 years?
Yeah,
Okay. You want me to answer that right now?
if and only if you want to.
Okay, yeah. I can start rolling off right now. So back in 2020, it all went through COVID as a travel agency. And not fun, right? As you can probably imagine, that is one of the worst businesses you can find yourself in during a global pandemic is travel, international travel. And so we looked at ways to diversify the company and ended up acquiring a retailer in Four Corners, Montana, close to Bozeman, just outside of Bozeman, called Pins and Feathers. And I think that has rejuvenated a lot of us, Mark. You know, we we through a ton of hard work were fortunate enough to become the world's foremost fly fishing travel agency. And I think for myself today, 5, 10 years from now, especially five, I'd say about five, we want to turn around and do it again in fly fishing retail, right? And say, hey, we were able to not only reach a pretty insane goal of becoming the largest travel agency in the world, but doing it again at retail. That isn't, I mean, that's honestly for me personally, that's just an internal thing. That's something that, um, I can, what 65, 70 years old when I'm drinking a Coors Light on the porch one day, look back and be like, man, I was a part of something that was a lot bigger than myself. We did something that was very cool that not a lot of people could say that they did. And so in doing that, obviously, it's our number one goal is to take care of our customers first. We won't compromise that in any way, shape, or fashion whatsoever. However, I think we've got some really cool things that we're working on the next, near future that ultimately I hope that we can get to that one day. And we can say those things. So that is a big personal business goal of mine is to be able to not only say, hey, we became the world's largest travel agent, then we turned around and did it again, became the world's largest fly shop and fly fishing retailer. Essentially, you're the largest fly fishing travel outfitter ever, which that would be, I mean, so cool to say. It's a really big lifetime accomplishment to do that. For fishing, man, I mean, like I said, I have ingrained myself in my role so much that going back to that kind of tournament analogy that I kept referring to, and that crossroads is for me, fishing is just an escape. I try to keep things as simple as possible. My ideal day is walking onto a bonefish flat with a couple of spools of tippet, maybe a leader in my pocket, and a puck of bonefish flies, and that's it. And of course, a rod and a reel, and I'm just walking. Either that or I've got a puck of PMDs and maybe it's only 8 flies. And if they don't like those 8 flies, that's tough, man. Like, I don't really carry a lot with me and just searching for rising trout all throughout Montana or Idaho or Wyoming. Everybody's got these fishing goals. I would personally love in my lifetime to catch a 40-inch snook. I think that would be absolutely incredible. That's one of my favorite species of game fish. And other than that, a double digit bonefish is high up there. Uh, to be able to make that work. There's a lot of planning, and there's a few places in the world. Andros is a great spot to go try to do that. Hawaii and Oahu is another great spot. Those bonefish are not easy to come by. Might need to stay there 2 weeks, maybe a month to get that done. Yeah, there's a lot of great opportunities in the world of angling. And I'm probably much like you. The more and more I learn about, the more I see friends do or coworkers, like it kind of gets added to my list as well.
Incredible. Wow. 40-inch snook. That would be something else.
I know. And they are, I mean, when they get that big, they get so smart. I mean, it's insanely challenging to hook them. A friend of mine and I went down to Florida around Jupiter maybe 4 years ago. And and trying to get these things to eat was hard in and of itself, but then hooking it and keeping the fish on, it goes back to what I was saying about those little things. I mean, everything possible. We're in the upper echelon. We're in the competing in the high league at this point, trying to catch these fish. And I mean, we'd have knots fell, we'd have hooks break, you name it, and we lost them all. So I'm excited to get back down and try it again sometime.
Awesome. What an amazing bucket list.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, good. Well, Carter, you were awesome. Thanks for spending time with us today on Smart to Fish Wild. I hope today's conversation resonated and gave you something to think about. Please consider sharing this episode with other people who you think might find value. Until next time, get smart so you can fish wild.